Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to Broncomania. Today we're gonna do something fun. What we're doing today is trading out the standard Bronco front skid plate with the Bronco Raptor skid plate. And does that work or not? That's what we're gonna be doing today. So let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you the differences between the standard Bronco skid plate, front skid plate, and the Raptor. Now I have a Bronco Sasquatch, but it's actually a Badlands Sasquatch, so it came with the skid plate already attached. This is a steel skid plate, and let's take a look at this real quick. And this is the Raptor skid plate. So I want to show you some of the differences, okay? The first thing you're going to notice is that the Raptor skid plate's quite a bit higher than the standard Badlands skid plate. The other thing about it is it's somewhat deeper as well. So what I mean by that is if you go right here, from this end to this end, this is a bigger plate. So let's get out our, sorry, I got somebody mowing the lawn. So let's get out our measuring tape. So this is 21 inches from the front of the plate to the rear of the plate. And this is 18.5 inches from the front of the plate to the rear of the plate. So it's quite a lot longer. Or I should say wider, I guess, in depth, probably depth. So deep wise, so front to back, it's a lot longer. And I got somebody mowing here, so let me just take a second. The other thing about it is if you notice on the Bronco standard Badlands, you have an attachment sight right here and an attachment sight right here. And they're kind of offset. So they go in, they come down, and then they go up a little bit, okay? On the Raptor, it's even all the way across, okay? This has a much bigger slot, so it's got some possibilities to, you know, move a little bit with whatever bolt you're trying to stick it in with, okay? Or put it together, which I said. Also, you'll notice that it has this big attachment plate right here. I'm not really for sure what this is for. It may be a brace. I'm not sure, but it is attached. It looks like it's riveted on. I don't think I can get them off. They may be able to screw off. We'll see. We'll flip it over. Also, you have these little notches on the side. Okay, whereas the standard Bronco Badlands, there's no notches. All right. Another thing people have been asking about is this just metal that's painted to look like aluminum? Well, got a magnet out here, guys. So that is a magnet, and it is sticking to that pretty good. This one, on the other hand, does not stick. So this is definitely an aluminum alloy. It is much lighter than this one is. I didn't actually weigh it, but I will weigh it, and I'll put that somewhere in the scroll of this video to tell you the difference in weight. But I can lift this up pretty easily with one hand. This is actually a pretty heavy piece for hauling with one hand, but definitely that is steel. That is not, okay? So to answer everybody's questions, this is aluminum, all right? Now let's flip it over. Look at some differences on the other side. Okay, so let's just take a look at it. And as you can see, it's a much bigger plate, okay? So But it doesn't, I can tell you already, it does not hang lower to the ground. It just wraps more around the Bronco front. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second, okay? But these are pretty deep grooves right here, so these are deep, okay? I really like them actually. And to answer your question, these are not screws, these are studs. Or sorry, these are rivets. So there's rivets up front for that piece. And I'm assuming that's for rigidity. That's why they put that on there. And there's nothing here on that at all. These are a little bit not as what I would say high, little, I don't know what you would call these, but these are lower and a little more flatter than the Raptor. All right, and as you can see, this one right here covers a whole lot more. This is just a little bit above, so this is coming around and covering more. And when we put it on, I'll show you how that works. So there you have the differences. All right. Another thing that you'll see is these little notches right here. I'm not for sure what these holes are for, but there's 2 holes there. Okay. And I'm just not sure. There's none on the Raptor one at all. That's just nothing there. So this is really easy to come off though. It's just 4 bolts and comes off really easy. And each bolt is the same size bolt. It's got a little spinning connected washer to it. And basically, you know, you just take your wrench or whatever you have, unbolt them, and it just drops. It's super easy. One there, one there, one there, and one here. So it's a really easy, no problem at all. This is not hard to do whatsoever, okay? Now let's move to the front. Okay, so we're back. So let's look at these connection points in the bumper. So obviously here's your standard bumper. This is metal, this is plastic, okay? So if you're on a Raptor, this is gonna be painted like aluminum. It's not gonna actually be metal as far as I know. It should be the same things, but just painted aluminum, or some real similar looking style painted aluminum, or painted aluminum, but not actually aluminum. I don't think it is. I don't have a Raptor, but I'm guessing that they're probably gonna keep that fairly simple. And we're not gonna paint them aluminum on this particular setup, because what I'm trying to do is copy the original Bronco that the original Ford Bronco that they released, which was a cactus gray Bronco with white top, white accents. So we're trying to copy that. We're gonna make a Bronco that looks just like that. So we're not gonna do the painting of these, okay? But let's look at the attachment points, okay? So you have an attachment point here, an attachment point on the other side. And if we go down underneath, you're gonna have an attachment. Let's see where it's at. Let me find it. It's gonna be up here, right there, and right there. And you can see this is loose. So another question is if you have a Bronco that already has skid plates from the factory, and obviously the Badlands has a skid plate here, skid plate there, skid plates down there, there. There's skid plates everywhere, okay? So this Badlands has come equipped with quite a few skid plates. Does it affect this skid plate, okay? So we're about to find out. Some other little pieces while we're here. Looks like this is the intercooler for the turbos. I think I'm gonna replace this with a different version, but it looks pretty easy to get to. Not very complicated, so that looks like something we'll do. So now that we know all that, let's go ahead and show you some of the hardware. Okay, so let's look at the first things we're gonna need to have here. We're gonna need a 15mm socket, and I can't remember, let me see here. Hold on a second. 15mm socket and a 16mm socket, okay? Those are the ones we're gonna need. So let's see here. That's what I'm using right there. Okay. And then I'm also using just the DeWalt cordless. Obviously you can use a wrench too if you don't have one of these. And then we also need, and I'm going to put all this in the description, and I'll also put this on a scroll in the video, okay? You're also going to get one of these. And what this is a Tico black oxide. This is a Tico black oxide double threaded stud, okay? And it's an M10 1.5, 95 millimeter long, okay? So M10 1.5, 95 millimeter long, black oxide double stud, okay? So you got a stud on this side and a stud on this side. And I decided to use a stud rather than a traditional bolt like one of these that came out that's just longer. And the reason I did that is because what we have to do is we have to put in a spacer on one of the spots on the new Raptor skid plate, okay? Now this spacer, people are gonna ask me, what is this? I don't know, I just found this in some parts that I've had, so I have no idea what this is. It's aluminum. But I'm gonna put in the one that I think we should order and the one I'm gonna replace this with. And the one we're gonna reorder, and I'll put this again in the description below, and also I'm gonna put this on the scroll, okay, for you guys who are on TV. And the only difference is this, as you can see, is not all the way up. I want it to be a little thicker than just this one end on one side. So I want it to be more like that all the way through on both sides. So I want this to be thicker. So I'm going to give you the place to get this from, and I'm going to order one and replace mine with this as well. But I wanted to get up this, and this works. This is the right size. So, and I measured this size to be, this right here is 1 7/16 inches long, meaning this way, and then from here to there, it's 1 1/16, okay? But I'm gonna shoot out the one that's gonna replace this. It's gonna be all aluminum, and I want aluminum rather than steel because I want aluminum on aluminum, because otherwise the steel will end up gnawing at that aluminum if we don't have aluminum on aluminum. I don't care about this part of it where it's attached so much as I do putting the aluminum directly to other aluminum, okay? So I want to have that taken care of as far as that goes. All right, let's get to the next part. All right, a couple of other things that I forgot to show you that we need, and then we'll get started here. We also need one of these. The bottom of this nut is a washer that just spins. It's a free spinning nut, that's what it's called. It's a free spinning nut. And we want one of these on there because the original ones, they're also spinners, but they're bolts, okay? Meaning that we're putting a stud on there, we're gonna need to do the nut, free spinning nut on the other side. Now, one bad thing about it is this nut is a little too small. So if I put this up here, you can see that this washer is not big enough, and I actually ordered the right washer, and I bought it and everything, and they're like, we can't get them in, we don't know when we're gonna get them in. So they're very hard to find. I'm gonna search for one, and if I find them, I'm gonna replace it, but this will work for now. These are actually what they used back in the day to bolt on. These are from Ford, and these are actually what they used to bolt on underneath the car, from underneath the car, like bucket seats and stuff like that. That's what that's from. So it's definitely gonna hold on, and that helps it. The spinning washer helps it to stay on, okay? So in this case, I have another washer that's bigger, about the same size, and then this is gonna go on top of that, okay? The one that I'm gonna order is actually black oxide, that's how they come. So hopefully I get it that way, it'll all match up, but this is what I'm gonna use for now, and it should be fine, okay? Okay, so first thing we wanna do is we wanna put this threaded bolt up into the location. So I'm gonna thread lock it, but I'm only gonna use blue locker, not red locker, because I may take this out. So I'm gonna do that first. and then maybe come back with the red thread locker. But I've actually had this in for a little bit, and I don't think it needs locker at all, but we're going to go ahead and put blue locker on today. So let me get done with that. All right, so I just got a little bit of locker around there, and I put it all the way around. It'll catch when I screw it in. And so I'm just going to put this up in here. And I put it all the way in until it stops. Now I wish this one had one of the little hex pieces in between, because you could use a little wrench to tighten that up. I'm just going to leave it like it is, but hand tightened. So that should do the trick. I'm not going to put any thread locker on this side, just on the side that's going up into the frame here. All right. And this, obviously, this side here is on the passenger side, closest to the passenger side, the bolt hole closest to the passenger side. What I've done is I put this aluminum skid plate on a box here, and then you just want to kind of line it up with where your holes are, okay? And it'll make it much easier to put on. And I have the stud already in there, okay? Now, what you want to do is just take a little bit of tape, put it there in the stud hole, and that way when you put this on the stud, it's going to hold it up. So, and the way I'm going to do this is when you get the ones that I'm telling you to order, you don't have to worry about which side to put in. I'm going to put this side towards the metal, this side towards the aluminum. So it's going to kind of look like that when it goes up, okay? So I should just push it on up, and that little piece of tape will hold it up there like that for you, okay? So, and don't worry about the tape. It's just going to wear out and fall apart. It isn't going to hurt anything. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I want to put these original bolts that came out of the came off the original skid plate from the Bronco. And I'll find out what these parts numbers are for you, because you're going to want to get those if you all have one of the plastic skid plates that are the non-Badlands or version of Badlands. You're going to want those, but we only need 3 of these. So I got the 3, comes with 4 obviously, and then we have the other stud over here, okay? So, so the easiest way to do this is just, okay, so what you want to do is just lift it up, and then just take your bolt, put it through here by hand, line up that stud in the back, and then just get it a little bit on there like that, and then just drop it, okay? And then we're going to go over to this one over here, and we're going to do the same. And this is a slot, so it's going to move a little bit over. Okay. And I'm not going to go all the way up with it. Just about like that, okay? And push this back there. Okay. All right, then I'm going to go underneath and get this one down over here. And this one goes right here. Okay. And just kind of, again, finger tight it up. And then the last is going to be the stud down here, which I already have, so you can see how it looks. Okay. And I could actually take that tape out if I want to, but it's not going to matter. You can just leave it in there. So you're going to take your washer and your spinning nut, free spinning nut, okay? So washer first. And then your free spinning nut. And that's pretty much it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tighten it up. And I'm going to start with this one in the back. So it's just a 15mm socket. And then I go to the front here. Back over here. And I'm not torquing them down or anything. I'm just semi, you know, until it's tight and it's on there and it fits perfect. So a couple of things about it, as you can see right here, here's where it's coming up against the existing skid plate. So the one thing that's a little different is this right here. This section here is exactly the same, but on the other skid plate down here, this actually goes up quite a bit. So if I stick my finger in there, you can kind of feel where it's at. So this is a little bit tucked in a little deeper, but this covers your arms much more. I mean, this is not covered in a regular Bronco, so I feel like this is a better skid plate than the original one that came with it, because it does cover all this, where the other one comes up to about here, okay? And then this just gets tucked in a whole lot higher up. I like the way this looks up front here. This gives it a whole different look. So it's just beautiful. I like it so much better. So I ended up picking this one up on eBay for $250. I tried to find them online new, but they were not available at any of the places I could find them. There's a little sneak peek of the new tires. Those are the Falcons, the Wild Peaks, the ATW4s. We'll talk about that in another video. That's just a little peek for y'all. But there we have it, guys. It actually takes only about, probably if you have it ready to go, I'm gonna say probably less than 5 to 10 minutes. It's super easy. Don't be afraid to do it. It's simple. And it's just awesome. And I like the way it looks. It's just an awesome look. So until next time, everybody, Broncomania.